In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending?
Senator, as I do in every case.
Okay, I know you've been told to repeat the line, I follow the law. I asked a question. In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at risk of reoffending?
Sir, I looked at the facts that were before me in this case. All of the evidence, including the statements of every warden who had supervised this petitioner.
You also wrote, the BOP also posits that permitting petitioner to live among women will be traumatizing and possibly dangerous to them. This concern is overblown. I have to say, if I were the father of one of those women, and you decided that my daughter's cellmate was going to be a 6'2" man who over and over and over again committed violent sexual assault, I would say the entire justice system is absurd, and it is clear on your record your political ideology matters a heck of a lot more than the rights of those women that you endangered.
Wow. If that snippet doesn't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will. Welcome back to Hot News Today, folks. What you just saw was a preview of one of the most brutally honest and necessary confrontations I have seen in a long, long time. My initial reaction? It's a mixture of relief and absolute fury. Relief that someone like Senator Ted Cruz is there to ask these hard questions, and fury that a sitting judge had to be asked them in the first place. The idea that the rights of violent predators are being placed above the safety of innocent women is a dystopian nightmare, and it's happening right now in our justice system. This isn't about politics. This is about basic common sense and the fundamental right to safety. Stick around, because after we watch the full exchange, I'm going to break down exactly why Senator Cruz is 100% right in this clip and why this should be a wake-up call for every single one of us. Don't go anywhere.
Well, Judge Netburn, I'm going to continue on this line of questioning. In your court, what matters more? The rights of individuals or your political ideology?
I apply the law to the facts.
I asked a question, which matters more?
Well, my political ideology doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so I don't believe you. And I think this case demonstrates that you are willing to subjugate the rights of individuals to satisfy your political ideology. This case involves a male defendant who raped a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Okay, so he raped a 9-year-old boy. He also raped a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty. The petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
So was he guilty?
I hope so, because she pled guilty to it.
He was a he when he did this.
That's correct.
And also criminal deviant conduct, which the record doesn't disclose what that was exactly. Then, after serving in prison, Mr. McLean was released for parole, but then violated the terms of parole by having internet and was sent back to prison. 1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
I'm unclear on exactly the time frame that you're at, but the petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Child pornography that was images of adults violently raping children.
Abhorrent conduct.
Okay.
For which there are real victims.
And this individual, 6'2", biologically a man. A minute ago you said that when this man decided that he was a she, you said this individual was, quote, I wrote it down, sober and entirely a female. That phrase struck me as remarkable. Did this individual have male genitalia?
I think what I said, or at least what
that is a verbatim quote, entirely a female.
Sorry, what I meant to say was hormonally a female.
Okay, but that's not entirely. Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
So you took a 6'2" serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Is that a question you're
yes,
asking me?
the other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Of course.
Do they have the right not to have a 6'2" man who is a repeat serial rapist put in as their cellmate?
Senator Cruz, I considered the facts presented to me, and I reached a decision based on what the law
I asked you a
is.
question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is a serial rapist put in as their cellmate? Do those women have a right to that?
Every person who's incarcerated has the right to be safe in their space.
But you didn't think so. You didn't think so. And in fact, I'm going to give some quotes from your order because Senator Kennedy is right. This is not a judge's order. This is a political activist. By the way, the beginning of your order says, at birth, people are typically assigned a gender. I got to say that would astonish a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans think you go to the hospital, a baby is born, and congratulations, you have a little boy, a little girl. The assigned a gender, I know you went to Brown, but it sounds like it's in a college faculty lounge with no bearing on reality. The Bureau of Prison argued what I'm saying right now, that if you put this person in a female prison, there will be a risk of sexual assault to the women. And you know what you did? You said you didn't care about the women. I'm going to quote what you wrote. You wrote, quote, "The Bureau of Prisons claim penological interest in protecting female prisoners from sexual violence and trauma. This interest is legitimate," that's kind of you to say, "but there are no signs that petitioner is at risk of reoffending. The record is devoid of evidence of incidents of violence or assault during petitioner's incarceration when she was the perpetrator, only the victim. A theoretical risk of sexual assault by the prisoner without more cannot support the BOP's position. No evidence, theoretical." Have you dealt, in what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending?
Senator, as I do in every case.
I know you've been told to repeat the line, "I follow the law." I asked a question. In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at risk of reoffending?
Sir, I looked at the facts that were before me in this case. All of the evidence, including the statements of every warden who had supervised this petitioner.
You also wrote, "The BOP also posits that permitting petitioner to live among women will be traumatizing and possibly dangerous to them. This concern is overblown." I have to say, if I were the father of one of those women, and you decided that my daughter's cellmate was going to be a 6'2" man who over and over and over again committed violent sexual assault, I would say the entire justice system is absurd, and it is clear on your record your political ideology matters a heck of a lot more than the rights of those women that you endangered. I think you're a radical, and I think you have no business being a judge.
All right, welcome back. Now that you've seen the full, unedited exchange, let's get into it. My opinion on this is not just strong, it's unequivocal. Senator Ted Cruz absolutely dismantled the judge's flawed and dangerous reasoning, and he did it on behalf of every citizen who expects their justice system to protect victims, not coddle criminals. Let's break down why this was so effective. First, the framing from the very first question: what matters more, the rights of individuals or your political ideology? He immediately cuts through the legal jargon and forces the conversation into a moral and ethical realm. The judge's robotic response of "I apply the law to the facts" is exposed as completely hollow when the facts are so horrifying. Cruz doesn't let them hide behind procedure. He makes it about real-world consequences. And that leads to the second masterstroke. He relentlessly focuses on the victims. He doesn't just say a criminal. He specifies over and over a 6'2" man, a serial rapist, a serial child rapist. He reminds everyone listening of the sheer brutality and violence this individual is capable of. He forces the judge and us to visualize this person in a cell with vulnerable women. When he asks, do those women have a right to that? And the judge stumbles, it's because there is no good answer. The judge's ideology cannot withstand the simple, moral weight of that question. Third, he uses the judge's own words against them. The quote about the risk to female prisoners being overblown and theoretical is perhaps the most damning part of the entire clip. Theoretical? For a repeat, violent sexual predator? In what universe? Cruz is right to call this out as an absurdity. It shows a profound disconnect from reality, a mindset so captured by a political agenda that it becomes blind to obvious, imminent danger. Let's be very clear about the individual in this case. They are a biological male, with male genitalia, convicted of some of the most heinous crimes imaginable against children. The judge's focus on them being hormonally a female is a terrifying distraction from the concrete facts of their biology and their criminal history. The channel uses they as a neutral pronoun, but in this context, we cannot ignore the physical reality that poses the direct threat to those women in the prison. Senator Cruz isn't being a radical here. He's being the only adult in the room. He is defending the most basic, fundamental right of those incarcerated women to be safe from sexual violence. The judge's order was an act of catastrophic negligence, and Cruz exposed it for exactly what it was, a political decision that subjugated the rights of individuals to a radical ideology. This is why we need voices like his. This isn't just a debate. It's about who our system is designed to protect. And after watching that, it's clear Senator Cruz is on the side of the victims. And for that, he has my full support. What did you think? Was Senator Cruz right to confront the judge this way? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more unfiltered news analysis on Hot News Today.